Karen called the cops on my lawn. But instead of the sheriff, a galactic envoy landed in my driveway and demanded I host an interstellar summit. It all started because I didn't mow. That's it. I was halfway through a beer, grill going, lawn halfway to Farrell when she marched over, Karen. Clipboard queen of the Homeowners Association. She didn't even knock, just stood on the sidewalk like it was sacred ground and yelled, "You've exceeded the legal grass height for the second time this quarter. Do you even read the regulations?" I raised my beer. "I inherited this place a month ago. The lawn came pre-hunted." She blinked like I'd spoken Klingon. "Excuses don't change the rules. Section 42, Subrule 19, no wild growth beyond 3.5 inches. And what is that rock circle?" I glanced at the weird ring of stones Uncle Ned had always called the zone of no touchy. One of them pulsed faintly. "Art," I said. "You wouldn't get it." She whipped out her phone and dialed. "I'm reporting this. You can't just ignore the bylaws and turn your yard into a pagan shrine." She stomped off. I went back to flipping burgers. 10 minutes later, my phone buzzed with a strange alert. "Warning, federal land alert. Your property is flagged for oversight. Stay neutral." I assumed it was spam. Or maybe some posthumous prank by Uncle Ned. The man believed the IRS was run by time-traveling lizards. He also told me once, very seriously, "Don't let them trim the sacred node. That grass holds the treaty." Whatever. I brushed it off. Until a park ranger showed up. Real uniform, badge, hat, all of it. He stood on the edge of the lawn like it was radioactive. "Afternoon," he said. I nodded. "Can I help you? This zone's been flagged for potential biosphere disturbance. I'm going to need to take a soil sample and issue a temporary lockdown." Karen appeared from nowhere like a bad pop-up ad. "Finally. Someone who respects order. Officer, this man has been defiling the subdivision with rogue vegetation and unknown lawn decor." The ranger turned to her. "Ma'am, this is federally recognized sovereign land. You are currently trespassing." Her jaw dropped. "It's his front yard." The ranger pulled out a scanner and pointed it at the rocks. A soft hum, then a series of alien symbols flashed across the screen. He turned to me. "Sir, are you aware your property contains a registered Class 3 galactic biosignature site?" I blinked. "Nope. Just found the grill 2 days ago." Karen looked like she was about to spontaneously combust. "This is a neighborhood. This is America." The ranger ignored her. "According to records, this site was claimed under the Earth-Sorlax Biosphere Treaty, ratified by one Edward Miles in 1983. Are you his heir?" "Yeah. He was my uncle. Left me the house. And apparently a glowing rock circle." The ranger nodded. "Then you are now acting custodian of Protected Zone 9A. Which explains the beacon activation." Karen threw her hands up. "You're all insane. This is HOE property. I'm calling the mayor." The ranger smiled. "Do that. But he'll just forward you to the Office of Interstellar Park Management." Then came the humming. Not from the ranger. From the lawn. From beneath it. A blue pulse spread from the center rock like ripples in water. The grass shimmered, and my phone lit up again. Karen backed away. "This is illegal. This violates like 7 landscaping codes." That's when the sky opened. A sleek, metallic vessel, triangular, glowing faintly purple, descended directly over my mailbox. It was silent, except for the weird, almost polite chime it made as it hovered 2 feet above the curb. Karen screamed. I dropped my burger tongs. The vessel opened, and a jellyfish-like being floated out, enclosed in a transparent orb filled with sparkles and what looked like vaporized glitter. Its voice echoed telepathically. "Warden successor identified. Treaty reconfirmation required. Diplomatic intervention requested." Karen pointed at it. "This is a prank. This is against HOE bylaws." The jellyfish blinked, somehow, and replied, "Your bylaws do not supersede the singularity accord of the 9th spiral. Karen screeched and ran back to her house. I just stood there, barefoot, with a spatula in one hand, trying to process what the hell just happened. The jellyfish hovered closer. Devin Miles, you are now the acting steward of Interstellar Ecological Zone 9A. Your predecessor entrusted this site to your lineage. I muttered. Uncle Ned, what the hell did you do? The jellyfish continued. Please prepare for initial summit protocols. Ensure the sacred grill is functional. I looked at the charred hot dog still on the grill. You're kidding. We do not joke. The peace of 1983 was forged over open flame and fermented grain. These conditions must be replicated. So now I'm stuck in flip-flops and a national parks hoodie, hosting the start of something cosmic, because Karen couldn't mind her own damn business. And the worst part? The HOA just posted a fine on my door for unauthorized atmospheric disturbance. Karen tried to hand the galactic jellyfish an HOA violation notice. She slapped it on the side of its orb, where it immediately dissolved with a sound like a sigh and a flash of green light. The alien blinked once and said, "Hostile document neutralized." Then it turned to me. "Do you authorize this woman to issue planetary sanctions on your behalf?" I looked at Karen, who was already scribbling another citation. "Absolutely not." The jellyfish spun slightly in its orb. "Then we interpret her act as an unsanctioned attempt at territorial claim. This constitutes a breach of the non-aggression clause of the Biosphere Accords." Karen's pen froze. "I just wanted him to mow the lawn." A second ship shimmered into view above the neighborhood. Sleek, long, and humming like a microwave about to explode. A new voice boomed from the sky. "Conflict detected. Diplomatic intercession team en route." Karen shouted at me. "What did you do?" "I didn't mow," I said. "You called the cops." The jellyfish floated over the lawn, scanning each inch of grass. "Growth patterns are consistent with intentional cultivation. Sacred configuration intact. No violations present under galactic law." Karen's eye twitched. "It's weeds." A ripple of shimmering energy passed over the yard. The air thickened. I could smell lemon zest and something ancient. From the sky descended a squad of floating orbs, each containing a unique alien being, a sentient crystal, a glowing humanoid outline made of sound, a six-eyed moss-covered insect thing wearing what looked like a tie. One of them nodded to me. "Steward Miles, you were not expected to ascend so soon. The Treaty Keeper believed his tenure would continue." "Yeah, well," I said, "he's dead. He fell off a ladder trying to install a lightning rod in his bathtub." All five beings made a humming sound of respectful mourning. Karen tried to interrupt. "Listen, I'm the elected HOA president of this neighborhood, and I will not have—" The crystal being cut her off. "Your governing body holds no power here. This land has been sovereign since 1983 under the Unified Galactic Concord. Your authority ends at the sidewalk." She turned to me with pure venom. "You've been here 3 weeks and you've already started a cult and invited aliens. Do you even know what a weed whacker is?" I shrugged. "Interstellar treaties say to leave it alone." One of the orbs opened a hologram. A document unrolled into the air, long and glowing. At the top, Treaty of Earth Biosphere Zone 9A. Below that, my uncle's name and signature, along with dozens of others, some human, some clearly not. The jellyfish spoke again. "Edward Miles preserved this site for 40 years. He fulfilled the obligations: no artificial pesticides, weekly offerings of grilled meats, and seasonal celebrations of galactic alignment." "That sounds like a barbecue," I said. "He called it Grillin' Fridays. It was sufficient." Karen laughed bitterly. "This is madness. None of this is legally binding. There are city codes. Ordinances." The crystal being flashed. "All inferior statutes were superseded under Article X of the Concord. This land is a recognized peace zone. Any aggression against it triggers diplomatic intervention." "Like what?" As if on cue, the military showed up. 2 black SUVs and a drone buzzing overhead. A man in a black suit stepped out and walked right up to me. You Devon Miles? Yeah. He held up a tablet. Just confirming. Your property was flagged by the National Park Service's Alien Affairs Division. You're not in trouble. We just need you to acknowledge custodianship and sign this waiver so we can update the zoning maps. What happens if I don't? Technically, this land becomes a jurisdictional vacuum, and 3 separate galactic species will claim it within the week. We'll be forced to mediate an incident that could become global. The jellyfish added. Also, the sacred moss will die. And no one wants that. I signed. Karen started pacing, muttering about lawsuits and emergency HOA meetings. But no one was listening to her anymore. One of the aliens offered me a sash. It was bright orange with tiny embroidered lawnmowers and stars. Congratulations, it said. You are now officially recognized as the Warden of Biozone 9A, Keeper of the Flame Grill, and Neutral Arbiter of the Blade Alignment Treaty. Karen shrieked. This is a neighborhood, not an alien embassy. The jellyfish floated closer. Incorrect. This is a shared zone of intergalactic heritage, protected under 17 separate accords, 3 of which were co-signed by the Vatican, NASA, and something called the Order of the Quantum Lawn. I squinted. Is that real? We don't joke about law and orders. Karen pulled out her phone again. I'm going to City Hall. This isn't over. A shimmer passed over the sidewalk. The alien diplomat stopped her. Exiting the biosphere zone. No further aggression may be made without consequences. She stepped back, confused. Her phone displayed a warning. You are entering an area under galactic diplomatic lockdown. Please respect the lawn. I had a sash. A glowing rock garden. A barbecue grill with religious status. Karen had nothing but a clipboard full of invalid citations and a rage she couldn't spend. She glared at me. You'll regret this. I cracked open another beer. You're mad because the lawn outranks you. And from somewhere above us, another notification blinked into being. Galactic Peace Summit, RSVP pending. Location, front lawn. By noon, my front yard had diplomatic immunity, a force field perimeter, and 3 parking violations issued to alien envoys. The grass was now officially a neutral zone of ecological and spiritual significance, and my grill had been classified as a cultural artifact of hospitality. I didn't even clean it. The jellyfish orb returned with an entourage, dozens of beings representing factions across the galaxy. One was a molten rock with eyes. Another was a feathered serpent that communicated entirely through temperature shifts. And somehow, they all agreed that the summit had to be held on my lawn, using folding chairs I bought from a yard sale. Karen reappeared at the edge of the property line like a storm cloud in yoga pants. She wasn't allowed inside the treaty zone anymore, but she hovered just close enough to scream. You're violating at least 5 codes about outdoor gatherings. That many non-residents require a permit. One of the diplomats leaned toward me. Does she speak for the planet? I shook my head. Absolutely not. She doesn't even speak for this block. They nodded solemnly. Then we will proceed. Each alien took a seat. Some floated. Some hovered. One melted into the grass and just pulsed occasionally to indicate agreement. They began discussing their shared grievances, treaty line misinterpretations, accidental pollinations, a diplomatic incident involving a mislabeled lawn gnome. I tried to follow along, nodding when appropriate, but I understood about 5% of what was being said. Still, the jellyfish advised me to offer drinks and meat as a gesture of unity. So I grilled. Karen watched me hand a plate of ribs to a sentient fog bank and looked like she might rupture a blood vessel. The jellyfish orb glowed. The sacred exchange of charred protein has been completed. You may now offer the ritual toast. I raised my can of cheap beer. To lawn peace. All the envoys echoed a variation of the phrase in their own languages. The heat shimmered. The grass sparkled faintly. Something fundamental in the air shifted. The insect diplomat buzzed. It is done. The covenant of grass is restored. One of the stone beings rolled forward and left a glowing cube on my porch. Your stewardship has prevented galactic misalignment. You are now recognized as Peace Steward of Biozone 9A. I didn't know what that meant, but I assumed I was supposed to say thank you. The jellyfish floated higher. Let the records show, the mortal known as Devon Miles has succeeded where bureaucracies have failed. All participants agree to honor the Yard Accord. Karen snapped. She ran toward the lawn with a rolled-up HOA charter and yelled, I nullify this farce with full neighborhood authority. The moment her foot hit the grass, the force field lit up and bounced her into a flower bed. She sputtered and flailed, covered in mulch. The aliens collectively turned their attention to me. I sighed. She's not with me. The feathered serpent tilted its head and hissed politely. May we relocate her? I shrugged. As long as it's peaceful. With a flash of violet light, Karen vanished. The jellyfish confirmed her new location, a monastery on Zorlax 5, undergoing cosmic humility training via interpretive gardening. The summit resumed. Minor disputes were resolved. New agreements signed. One diplomat gifted me a space fern that only blooms during supernovae. Another offered diplomatic immunity to my cat. The jellyfish floated close and said, You have maintained the peace, honored the grill, and rebuked the false steward. We are impressed. I sipped my beer. Honestly, I'm just trying not to get fined again. He pulsed. You now outrank 3 governors and 1 ambassador. Your flip-flops have been entered into the artifact registry. At that moment, the HOA vice president arrived with a manila folder, looking confused. He asked what was going on. The jellyfish answered for me. He has inherited sacred stewardship of a multi-species diplomatic zone via treaty succession. The lawn is no longer subject to local governance. The vice president blinked. So, I can stop Karen from reporting my gnome collection? I nodded. Yeah, you're good. A holographic sign blinked into view above the yard. Welcome to Galactic Heritage Site 9A, home of the Lawn Accords. The summit adjourned. Beings returned to their ships, or dissolved, or folded themselves into briefcases. The jellyfish remained. This was the first successful summit on Earth in centuries, he said. You have set a precedent. Also, the barbecue was excellent. I watched the last of the ships fade into the sky. The grass glowed gently. My folding chairs were now interstellar relics. Karen was gone. The HOA was paralyzed. The neighbors were too confused to complain. And I had a diplomatic sash hanging in my hallway that hummed softly at night. All because I didn't mow. 2 days after the summit, my mailbox started vibrating. Not like a little shake, but full-on seizure. I opened it and found a cube wrapped in zero-gravity tape and a note written in glowing ink. Initiate Phase 2. The legacy awaits. It was signed by my uncle, posthumously, with a smudged fingerprint and a chilly stain. Inside the cube? A set of blueprints, hand-drawn and annotated with interdimensional coordinates, grill maintenance notes, and something labeled Shed Portal Calibration Settings. Apparently, Uncle Ned had been building a cafe. A multiversal cafe, hidden inside the backyard toolshed, powered by lawn energy and Goodwill barbecues. He never finished it. That was now my job. The Galactic Council sent a crew of floating architects to help. They worked fast. The shed transformed into a shimmering polyhedral structure with a sign above the door that said, Ned's Interspace Cafe, Flip-Flops Welcome. The inside defied physics. One table existed in 3 dimensions simultaneously. Another was reserved for guests who didn't technically have a timeline. They still tipped better than humans. Every morning, more beings showed up. Diplomats, wanderers, and the occasional tourist curious about the holy lawn of Earth. A few of them brought offerings, rare spices, cosmic beans, sacred meat substitutes that sizzled on contact with my grill and released euphoric aromas. I didn't ask questions. I just cooked and kept the peace. Karen sent me a postcard. It arrived via a sentient crow made of vapor. The card read, This place smells like moss and regret. The jellyfish make us meditate with dandelions. I hate it here. She ended it with, P.S. I'm technically fluent in 4 dialects of plant now. Thanks a lot. I framed it. The HOA quietly dissolved. Apparently, when your neighborhood is officially designated as a cultural heritage site under galactic law, no one wants to argue about mailbox paint codes. The vice president moved to Costa Rica. The treasurer joined a space cult. No one noticed they were gone. I got a visit from a federal zoning official who walked through the perimeter, took one look at the holographic sign hovering over my yard, and said, Yeah, this is way above my pay grade. He left, and never came back. Visitors came in droves. They wanted to see the original sacred grill, the sacred tongs, the circle of stones. A group of alien monks stood in silence around my lawn every Sunday and hummed at the grass. I started charging admission, not much, just enough for supplies. Turns out, interdimensional travelers are really into lemonade. Some of them worshipped it. One of the jellyfish envoys returned with a badge and informed me that I had been nominated for the Universal Stewardship Medal of Reluctant Excellence, which apparently required a speech. I gave one. It was 7 words long. Please don't step on the sacred patch. Applause lasted 13 minutes. Someone wept. I began receiving mail addressed to the warden of the lawn. Some of it was in languages I couldn't read. One envelope hummed when I touched it, and contained a map of Earth with other zones of potential harmony, marked in glowing ink. Apparently, the lawn was just one of many. Uncle Ned had been part of something bigger. And now, somehow, I was too. A new letter arrived and signed, stamped with the seal of something called the Council of Rooted Peace. It simply read, Phase 3 is yours to discover. Until then, keep the grill hot and the lawn alive. That night, the grass shimmered a little more brightly. The stars felt closer. I stood in the middle of the yard, now maintained by a self-trimming protocol encoded in intergalactic treaties, and cracked open a beer. Everything had changed, but nothing felt strange. I still wore flip-flops. I still grilled. But now, occasionally, I got asked for advice on wormhole tax policy or interspecies zoning disputes. A time snail told me I had the vibe of a dormant prophet. I told him I was just lazy. He said it was the same thing. Somewhere in deep space, there's a file on me. A dossier that says, Human male. Accidental peacekeeper. Guardian of Zone 9A. Possesses sacred tongs. I didn't ask for this life. But I'll take it over HOA meetings. My front lawn isn't just grass anymore. It's a declaration. A flag planted in cosmic absurdity that says, Don't start none, won't get none. But if you do, you better bring snacks. And to think, it all started because I didn't mow.